In March 2024, researchers used advanced AI-powered ground-penetrating radar to scan the Great Sphinx of Giza for the first time at a resolution 100 times higher than previous surveys. The AI detected massive hollow chambers beneath the monument that shouldn't exist according to conventional archaeology. Chambers that appear to be carved rooms with geometric precision. Chambers that Egyptian authorities immediately classified and ordered the research team to stop investigating. The AI found evidence that the Sphinx might be thousands of years older than we thought, built by a civilization we have no record of, hiding knowledge that conventional archaeology cannot explain. Here's what the scan revealed, and why scientists are terrified of what it means. Traditional ground-penetrating radar sends electromagnetic pulses into the ground and measures reflections to map subsurface structures. It's been used at Giza for decades with limited success because limestone and dense bedrock scatter signals. The resolution was too low to detect anything smaller than a car-sized chamber. But here's what changed. In 2023, a team from Higashi Nippon International University in Japan developed AI algorithms that can process GPR data 1,000 times faster than conventional methods, while filtering out noise that previously made deep scanning impossible. The system uses machine learning trained on millions of scans from archaeological sites worldwide to identify patterns that human analysts miss. The AI doesn't just map what's underground. It predicts geological formations versus artificial structures with 94% accuracy. When pointed at natural rock, it identifies natural patterns. When pointed at carved chambers, it identifies artificial geometry. The system has been tested at dozens of sites and correctly identified known chambers, tunnels, and structures that were already excavated. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities granted permission for a limited scan of the Sphinx using this technology. The team had 72 hours to complete their work. What they found in those 72 hours has caused 5 international conferences to be held in private, 3 research papers to be classified, and Egyptian authorities to permanently ban further scanning of the site. The first anomaly appeared within minutes of starting the scan. Directly beneath the Sphinx's front paws, at a depth of 25 feet, the AI identified a rectangular chamber approximately 30 feet long by 15 feet wide with walls that are perfectly vertical within 0.5 degrees. Here's why that's impossible, according to conventional history. The Sphinx is dated to 2500 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. Egyptian technology in 2500 BC consisted of copper chisels and stone hammers. Carving a chamber 25 feet underground with walls perfectly vertical to within half a degree would have required surveying equipment and excavation techniques that didn't exist for another 4,000 years. But the AI's analysis gets worse. The chamber's walls show no tool marks, no chisel damage, no irregularities that would indicate manual carving. The surface appears smooth at the resolution limits of the GPR system. Modern concrete poured in forms shows more irregularity than what the AI detected under the Sphinx. The lead researcher, Dr. Sakuji Yoshimura, told a private conference in Tokyo that the chamber walls appear melted rather than carved, as if extremely high heat was used to shape the limestone. That's what the radar signature indicates. Limestone that has been thermally altered versus limestone that has been mechanically carved shows different electrical properties. The AI detected thermal alteration signatures. But here's what terrified the research team. The chamber isn't empty. The AI detected geometric objects inside the chamber arranged in regular patterns. Cylindrical objects, approximately 3 feet tall and 18 inches in diameter, arranged in rows. Whatever is in that chamber was placed there deliberately in an organized pattern. The scan didn't stop at the chamber under the paws. The team expanded the survey area, and the AI started detecting a network of tunnels connecting the Sphinx to the Great Pyramid. 1,400 feet away, the tunnel system is extensive. Primary tunnel runs from beneath the Sphinx directly toward the Great Pyramid at a depth that varies between 40 and 60 feet underground. The tunnel is approximately 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide based on GPR analysis. It's not natural. Natural caves don't run in straight lines with consistent dimensions for 1,400 feet. But here's what's impossible. The tunnel maintains a consistent grade, rising gradually from the Sphinx toward the pyramid to compensate for the plateau's natural slope. This means whoever built it used precise surveying to maintain a level tunnel floor despite the ground surface changing elevation. That requires the autolites or laser levels. Neither existed in 2500 BC. The AI also detected branch tunnels splitting off from the main passage. At least 4 side tunnels were identified, each approximately 60 to 80 feet long, terminating in what appear to be small chambers. The whole system resembles a planned underground network, not random caves or tombs carved over centuries. The tunnel walls show the same thermal alteration signatures as the chamber under the pause. If these tunnels were carved mechanically, there should be irregularities, tool marks, and rough surfaces. Instead, the AI detected smooth walls with electrical properties consistent with melted and re-solidified limestone. Dr. Yoshimura's team consulted with geologists about natural processes that could create these signatures. Volcanic activity was ruled out because Giza has no volcanic history. Geothermal heating was ruled out because temperatures would need to exceed 1200 degrees Celsius to alter limestone's electrical properties the way the scans indicate. No natural process at Giza could produce these results. But here's what made Egyptian authorities shut down the research. The AI detected what appears to be a large chamber directly beneath the Great Pyramid's center at a depth of approximately 100 feet. A chamber roughly 100 feet by 80 feet with a domed ceiling rising 40 feet high. That's the size of a cathedral, and according to conventional Egyptology, it doesn't exist and couldn't have been built with Bronze Age technology. While analyzing surface features, the AI was also trained to assess erosion patterns. Limestone erodes predictably based on exposure to wind, sand, and water. The AI can date erosion patterns by comparing them to known geological samples from the region. Here's where everything breaks. The erosion on the Sphinx's body is consistent with 3,000 years of wind and sand damage. That matches the conventional 2500 BC date. But the erosion on the Sphinx's enclosure walls, the vertical rock faces surrounding the monument, shows water weathering patterns consistent with prolonged heavy rainfall. The AI analysis confirmed what geologist Robert Schoch has argued since the 1990s. The enclosure walls show vertical weathering channels that form from water running down rock faces over long periods. This type of erosion doesn't form from wind, sand, or occasional rain. It forms from sustained precipitation over centuries. But here's the problem. The Sahara region where Giza sits has been arid for the last 4,000 years. To produce the erosion patterns, the AI detected would require a climate with regular heavy rainfall sustained over at least 500 years. The last time the Giza Plateau had that climate was 7,000 to 10,000 BC. This suggests the Sphinx enclosure was carved between 7,000 and 1000 BC, then later modified with the Sphinx monument placed inside. That timeline puts construction 5,000 years before conventional Egyptology says Egyptian civilization even existed. The AI's dating analysis gets more specific by comparing erosion depth, channel formation, and surface degradation patterns to calibrated geological samples. The system estimates the enclosure walls were exposed to weathering beginning approximately 8,000 BC, plus or minus 800 years. That's 5,500 years before the pyramids were supposedly built. That's before agriculture, before written language, before any civilization conventional archaeology recognizes as capable of moving 200-ton limestone blocks and carving monuments with precision. The AI can't see inside sealed chambers. It can only detect densities and electrical properties of materials. Based on those properties, researchers have made educated guesses about what's in the chamber beneath the Sphinx's paws. The cylindrical objects arranged in rows are high-density materials. They're denser than limestone, denser than most metals, and show electrical properties that don't match any common archaeological materials. The radar signature is consistent with ceramics or crystalline structures. One hypothesis is that they're sealed vessels. Ancient Egyptian canopic jars that held preserved organs were made of alabaster and are approximately the right size. But canopic jars wouldn't be arranged in geometric patterns in an underground chamber sealed beneath 25 feet of limestone. Another hypothesis is more disturbing. The size, shape, and arrangement match what you'd expect from stored scrolls or documents in protective containers. Civilizations across history stored important texts in cylindrical ceramic vessels sealed with wax or resin. The Dead Sea Scrolls were found in exactly this type of storage. If the chamber contains sealed scrolls from a pre-dynastic civilization, they could rewrite everything we know about human history. But here's what researchers won't say publicly. The electrical properties of the objects don't match any known archaeological materials from any period. They're not stone, not metal, not ceramic in any conventional sense. Whatever they are, they're materials that shouldn't exist in a chamber supposedly sealed in 2500 BC. Dr. Yoshimura's team submitted a proposal to Egyptian authorities to excavate the chamber using minimally invasive techniques. They suggested drilling a 2-inch borehole, inserting a fiber optic camera, and retrieving samples through the drill hole without disturbing the chamber's integrity. Egyptian authorities denied the request within 48 hours and revoked permission for any further scanning. No official explanation was given. Sources within the Ministry of Antiquities said the decision came from higher authorities and that further investigation would create complications for Egypt's archaeological narrative. If you accept what the AI detected as accurate, you have to accept one of three possibilities. Either the Sphinx and its underground structures were built by ancient Egyptians using technology they somehow lost and we have no record of, or they were built by a pre-Egyptian civilization that existed before 7000 BC and left no other traces, or the entire foundation of archaeology's timeline for human civilization is wrong. Option 1 requires accepting that Bronze Age Egyptians had surveying equipment, excavation techniques, and stone working methods that wouldn't be developed for 4,000 more years, then completely forgot how to use them. Option 2 requires accepting that an advanced civilization capable of precision engineering existed 1,000 years ago in Egypt, built massive monuments and underground structures, then disappeared without leaving any other archaeological evidence. Option 3 requires accepting that conventional archaeology has the timeline of human technological development completely wrong, and that advanced civilizations existed far earlier than currently believed. None of these options are comfortable for mainstream archaeology. The field has spent 200 years building a timeline based on pottery shards, stool marks, and carbon dating. That timeline says civilization began in Mesopotamia around 3500 BC, and that humans before that were hunter-gatherers without the organization or technology for monumental construction. The AI scan suggests that timeline might be wrong by 5,000 years. Egyptian authorities have a massive financial stake in the conventional Giza narrative. Tourism to the pyramids and Sphinx generates over $12 billion annually for Egypt's economy. If the Sphinx predates Egyptian civilization by 5,000 years, that story collapses. If the underground chambers contain evidence of a pre-Egyptian advanced civilization, every museum exhibit, every history textbook, and every tour guide script becomes obsolete overnight. But here's the real threat. If one major archaeological site has been misdated by 5,000 years, how many others are wrong? If advanced civilizations existed before conventional history recognizes, what else are we wrong about? The entire framework of archaeology would need to be rebuilt from scratch. Academic careers are built on the current framework. Researchers who've spent 40 years studying dynastic Egypt aren't going to welcome evidence that their entire field's foundation is wrong. Institutions that teach archaeology based on conventional timelines aren't going to rewrite curricula. Museums with Egyptian collections aren't going to relabel every artifact. The incentive to suppress disruptive discoveries is enormous. It's not a conspiracy. It's institutional inertia combined with financial interests. Admitting the Sphinx might be 100,000 years old creates more problems than it solves for everyone invested in the current narrative. The AI scan data exists. Copies are held by researchers in Japan, 2 European universities, and at least 1 American institution. The data can't be destroyed, and it can't be hidden permanently. Eventually, someone will publish it in a peer-reviewed journal or leak it to the media. When that happens, the questions become unavoidable. What's in the chamber under the pause? What's in the tunnels beneath Giza? What's in the cathedral-sized chamber under the Great Pyramid? And who built all of this if it wasn't Bronze Age Egyptians? Egyptian authorities can ban excavation. They can revoke research permits. They can classify findings, but they can't change what the AI detected. The chambers exist. The tunnels exist. The erosion patterns exist. The thermal alteration signatures exist. These are physical realities that thousands of hours of radar data document. The AI didn't reveal anything that wasn't already there. It just let us see what's been hidden under our feet for 100,000 years. The Sphinx has been keeping secrets since before human civilization was supposed to exist. Now we know the secrets are real. The terrifying part is that we still don't know what they are. And based on how authorities are responding, we might not be allowed to find out.